And so here we have is the HDBaseT HDMI extender 4x4 matrix. It's a transmitter unit. So for this unit, you actually need receivers, which I'll introduce you later. But right now, here's the unit. So here's the front side. In the front, you'll see the actual the plate of the input and outputs, the source and outputs. So these will light up depending on what source is being shown, depending on the inputs too. And these little white buttons are for changing the source. Now on the back side, if you go over here, to make it show. Now this is where you have the outputs, the UTP output cable outputs. And here's the inputs. Now for the input, we have an HDMI input and RS-232. This is for the RS-232 control signals that you can use to control the player with. Additionally, we have an IR in and IR out. Depending on what way you want to use. Typically, the normal use is from, if we're going to be using the output, that's basically from the input on the receiver side, sending signal, coming through the unit to the output and controlling the player. That's typical usage. But you can switch it around if you want to. Okay, so with that said, let me start showing the actual unit there. I'm going to start showing the actual items. So here with this unit, I have, since it's a 4x4, I have 4 TVs and 4 players. And you can see here I labeled all A, B, C, D just for easier referencing. And then between these, like I said, I have receivers also. The receivers I'm using is going to be mixed between 100 meter versions, 150 meter versions, and 70 meter versions. Now these have their own little specifications on the resolution as well as the cable length. So for convenience sake, I am basically trying 3 of my TVs are 4K TVs, so I'm using the cable within their 4K specs. My last one, number A, that's a 1080p TV. So I have just a 1080p, the 150 meter version receiver, which supports only 1080p, and that's right there with the cables too. So with this said, let me start plugging everything in. So you focus back on the unit here. Now, like I said, there's the ports right here. I'm going to be only using HDMI port and for the first part of the video. The second part of the video, I'll actually demonstrate the RS-232 and IR. Now, the last part of the video is you'll see here, these 2 ports right here. I didn't introduce it earlier, but these are the RS-232 and IR port. These are specifically for the matrix to control the switching function from a remote location. So that I'll be doing at the very end. Okay, so let me start connecting everything first. Now I already have my cables all set up with my receivers, so let me connect it. So I'm going to connect everything into it. It's going to be the same, the way I'm connecting it is going to be the same as A, B, C, D. I'm just doing this it's easier to notice what is being done, so it's easier to show you. Now, this thing comes with its own power supply, which is this. So, with that said, I have everything plugged in. You notice immediately if I turn power on, because my Apple TV is on, all the TV comes out with signal. That's the Apple TV's home screen. Now let me turn the other players on, real quick. Samsung, Sony, and Panasonic. Okay, now I'm turning every TV on. So with this unit, all my players on. Now I'm going to show you real quick how to switch it. So if you look at it, everything right now is on A. But if you zoom close to the buttons again, we have buttons here. So if you look at A right now, it says Apple TV, and this is the Apple TV screen. I'm going to switch it all to B. So once you hit one button to B, notice it jumps to B. Same thing, I'm going to change to B also. Now, for this, I want to show this a real issue here. Okay, so I'm going to switch everything to B right now. Here you see all the video comes out. It will come out eventually. Except for this last one. Now, this A is not coming out because of my settings. It's outside the specs of the actual receiver. That's why it doesn't come out. If I switch it back to A, it will come out. But I'm just showing you right now, I'm just going to alter the whole motion. So, with B, it works. Now, you can go back and I'll change it all to C. Just wait for our video to come back up. And with C, same thing. All the video come up except for the A, because that's again, its settings out. It's outside their receiver settings. Now, real quick, if you look at my TV, I'm gonna bring up let's say the Sony TV. I'm gonna show you the display. Look at the resolution setting. It's 3040 by 2160p. Basically, it's 4K 2K. You can use the visual TV instead. If you look at the visual TV, it says 2160p. So it says 4K 2K. So all A, B, C, and D are 4K 2K right now. Except for A again because it doesn't support it. Now, last thing I'm gonna do, again, do the same thing. I'm gonna switch it to the buttons again. So now I'm gonna change it all to D. Now D is a regular 1080p video. So with this, everything will show up again. So you already see here, all of it comes back up. That's because they all support it. So right now you already saw me jumping between 1080p and 4K video. Now if the receiver supports it, it'll display. If it doesn't support it, it will not display. Now that's with that. Now for now, I'm going to switch it back all to A. And like I said right now, with everything back to A, I could do something else with this. I'm going to now introduce another way of controlling it. So here I have an IR remote. This is specifically made for this matrix splitter, the matrix. So instead of pressing the buttons, I can use this to switch between the inputs and the 1 to 4 correlates to the output. Now the sensor for this is right here. This thing right here, that's the sensor. Now on the back side you saw the IR port for the matrix itself. That's to extend the signal. But I won't demonstrate that right now. So for now I'm going to do it right now here. So since this is a matrix, I like to switch between different inputs and different sources. So I'm going to keep this thing right now. I'm going to keep A on A still because that's how it works. I'm going to be switching B, C, D right now. So here, you already see, video is playing different things. Real quick, I'll just put all this out, make all the videos play. So here, you notice, I want to show you the resolution real quick on all these displays. Input A, 1080p. Input TV B, 4K 2K. TV C, 4K 2K. And TV D, 1080p. That was for one switch. Let's say I want to have B and D, so the same thing. I'm going to use the remote control again. I'm going to change D to what B is showing. So looking at it, input B is showing source C. So I'm going to use the remote control. Change to C. And earlier it was 4K 1080p. But now you see, it comes up, same image, but 4K. So that's basically just showing you the switching. So I can do the same thing for all these again. I'm going to switch 1 to D. I'll just do a quick switching around. So I'm just cycling through different inputs for each output. And A is not showing because it's outside the spec of the 4K video. So switch to A and switch to input D. Here you see, comes up. Let me switch it. Let me do one more switch before I conclude this. Let's go. I'm gonna stick with A, the same thing. 2, I'm gonna switch to B. And D, I'm gonna switch to C. So here, you notice we have different input sources, different input resolutions. As long as your receiver can support that resolution, the TV will display it within the spec of the length and everything. Now, if, let's say you have two TVs, one TV is 1080p, other TV is 4K, and you're playing a 4K source, the 1080p TV will not show anything, as you can see from while I was playing with the input A. So that's the only limitation you have if you really want to play on a 1080p video, it better be a 1080p source. So I already showed the video and the audio portion with the switching. So now we're going to do the control signals. We have two different types of control signals. One is for the matrix itself, which I'm going to do first. And then the other one is going to be for actual control the players from the remote side, which I'm going to do after this. So we're going to be doing a little cute cutting segments. Okay, so now I'm going to do the control signals for the matrix itself first. And to that, let me show you the matrix and I'll show you where you can plug it in. So you look over here, the matrix on the back side by the HDMI ports, there's two ports. There's an IR in and an RS-232. Now, the IR is just basically extends this IR signal here. So to use that, all you do is get the IR sensor that comes with it, that comes with the unit, plug it in there, and you can probably put the sensor outside somewhere else, and you can use that to control this with the remote control, which is this thing right here. So like right now, let me show you real quick. You look at the letters here. With the remote control, the sensor for this one directly is right there. So if I hit 1, you see it changed from D to 1. So it cycles. Whatever button you press, it cycles that output. Now let's say this unit is in the cabinet. So you don't want to open the cabinet to use this remote control. You will just connect an IR sensor, which I have here. So this is an IR sensor, IR sensor. Connect to the hole in the back side that says IR. Plug it in, and then you can use this sensor and control switching through the switching. So let's say I want to switch to down here. If I move down here where I can't see the sensor, I'm gonna hit it, and you see it changes again also. So this unit remote control is seeing this sensor. Oh, that's when it's not out, when you can't see that one. So that's the IR sensor extended. Now, another one we have is RS-232 control, to control the matrix. Now, to do that, again, you connect the R232 cable that comes with the unit here. And on the other end, I have a RS-232 cable connected to my PC. And I will show you that when it comes out. I'll show you right now. So if you look over here, here's my PC. I changed the monitor out. I changed it from the HDMI for the matrix to the PC, so you can see my control. So I'm gonna go find a unit right now. We have a reset button. I'm gonna hit it real quick to show you what it says. So I'm gonna hit the reset button. It'll reset all the inputs. And when I hit the reset button, you look at the computer's monitor screen. That's what it shows you. You see the units, you see the control HDMI matrix 4x4, compile time, and then here you can use commands. So we got 3 commands: power down, status, and switching, which is the same commands we use for everything. So you should all type in lowercase. So for status, I go STE. You notice it says output 1 idle because I disconnected the output 1. But output 2, 3, and 4, it shows whatever monitor is playing right now. And you look at it, that's what it's showing. It's all the same. So that's status. Now, if I want to switch it around, let's say since I want to switch output 2 to B, so I go SW2 space B, again, all lowercase. Then on the matrix, output 2 goes to B, and then you look at the Sony monitor, it will change, and when it's to B, which is the Sony player. Now, again, we do 2 more changes. SW3, I go C, SW4 to D. So basically, and the corresponding TVs will be switching. So you have to wait for the signal to come back up, and when it does, here you see, everything's different. So that's the switching function. Now our last unit, the last command we have is power down, or power command. So that's PWD. Hit enter, power down. So you look at the matrix lights, all the signal lights goes away. So basically no output's being sent out now. And the TV corresponds to that. And here, if you look at the status on the computer, it says power down. To simply turn it back on, just do the command again, PWD. And give it again to let it refresh. And when you refresh it again, the TV should all come back. Everything works perfectly right now. So now I'm going to show the actual RS-232's control signals from the receivers to the transmitters. So let me show you again, let me go back to the transmitter side, this unit here. So the transmitter, to do the control signals, we have a few ports. So let me try to put this real quick. Oh, actually, you can't tilt it that well. So on right above the HDMI cables, the inputs, there's a DB9 connector. That's for the RS-232 control signals to pass through from the receiver to the transmitter. Now, to use that, all you need is the DB9 cable connected to whatever source controller you want. In my case, I'll be using a PC. So I'm gonna plug in. Let me do the first one I'm gonna show you is gonna be input. Let's do input A default. So I'm gonna plug it into input A. Now, that's for RS-232. For IR, you will need a IR sensor or IR out sensor, which looks like this. It's that comes with the receivers. So this one here, this side goes to the IR port. Next to the RS-232, there's an IR port. There's an IR in and IR out. You want to use the IR out because it's coming out of the transmitter to the source. That's the typical way of using it. Other people might want to control TV from the transmitter side, and you would need the IR in side. You would need to use IR in and IR in sensor. But I'm going to use the IR out sensor, which is this right here. Now, you have to put this IR out sensor in line of sight of the whatever source you're trying to control. So in my case, I put it into source A, so I have to put this next to source A, which is my Apple TV, to look at the Apple TV. That's the transmitter side. Now, if you look over here to my receiver side, so right here, my receiver. Now, every receiver also has a corresponding holes, the ports to connect to it. We have a RS-232 in port and IR in and IR out port. On this side, you want to use the IR in with the corresponding IR in sensor. And then as for the RS-232, which looks like this cable, I'm going to connect this to my RS-232 device, which is going to be a barcode scanner, which I have here, a regular generic barcode scanner. My simple way to do this is to do a barcode scan and make sure, as long as the computer sees my barcode, it's good. I'm going to connect it in like this. So that's basically it for the IR and how to do the connection wise. Now to actually see it working, so I can control whatever input that's connected to this receiver, which this is output C. So I'm looking over here, output 3. Since I put everything into 1, I'm going to change this to control A. Now, you want to be careful here. In order to use control signals, if, let's say I have output 3 is on A. If output 2 or 1 is on A, they will take precedence. So whatever is the lower number takes precedence over the rest. So here, if you see my output 3 is on A, I have to either change these out. So I need to change output 1 to B, even though it's unused, but still. So as long as output 1 on A, output TV on. So when you see the video come up, so you see my Apple TV right now on. Okay? So my sensor for this remote receiver is down here. It's this one, this cable right here. That's my R in. So if you look at it, me looking at the remote control, I'm hitting it. You notice the TV. It changes to what I want. I can do selection from here. Now, if I am to move this receiver out of here, away from the source, and you see me trying to do the same thing again, nothing happens. So it does have IR pass-through, and that's one way of showing it. Now, similarly with the RS-232, let me put that back in there. Look over here, my computer monitor. I am going to use a barcode scan. I'm going to do a simple scan of a barcode. And as you see, it is being passed from the transmitter or from the receiver through the category, the Cat6 cable, Cat6A cable to my transmitter, and from transmitter to TV, to my computer. And that's what my computer is showing. So RS-232 is passing here. Let me do another one, just to show you. Let's say I want to use the fourth one, my output 4. So if you look at my output 4, same thing again. I'm just change the connect cables to my barcode scanner to my output 4 RS-232, and my IR sensor down there. Look at the source it is. It says source D, so I'm going to change all this connection to D. This is for my video because I only have one connection. If you have 4 computers, you don't have to be like me, hot plugging it. But so I'm going to plug it to D. And my D is apparently Samsung. So I'm going to put my RR sensor next to my Samsung. I'm going to grab the remote control. And I'm going to control my Samsung player. So if you look at the TV, D, I'm going to hit pause. Let me make sure you have to hit the pause. So you see it pause. I'm going to hit play. It plays. Now if I move the sensor out of here, again, move the sensor away, hit pause and play, nothing happens. So, okay, so so if I move the sensor out, the remote control does not work anymore. Put the sensor back in, it works. So IR is being passed through. Same thing with the RS-232. It does pass through, it still scans. So with this, you can do any combination as long as the lower output number is not on the same one you were trying to control, you're fine. So it's a bit complicated to understand, but once you actually use it, it's easier to know. So basically you can use from remote side control any source on the transmitter that's connected to the transmitter to control, and then you can do both ways, but the typical way is from receiver to transmitter to source.